Hey, how you doing, Econ students? This is Isaac Nocon. Welcome back to ABCD Econ. Right now, we're going to be talking about Ronald McDonald. Just kidding, close though. We're going to be talking about Ronald Reagan and his world-renowned Reaganomics. Reaganomics is just a word for all of the economic policies that Ronald Reagan put into place as the 40th President of the United States from 1980 to 1988. Reaganomics is based on two economic theories that Ronald Reagan believed in: the supply side theory and the trickle down theory. The supply side economic theory claims that reducing corporate and income taxes, lowering interest rates, and decreasing government regulation in business will give incentives for the growth of businesses, an increased supply of products, and the creation of more jobs. The trickle-down theory claims that cutting taxes for corporations will allow them to have more money to invest in their company, to produce more products, and create more jobs for the lower and middle class. Therefore, the surplus money that the corporations of the high class have from the corporate tax cut will trickle down to the lower and middle class. It will trickle down because the corporation will pay the lower and middle class for working for them. As a result, everyone and the whole economy benefits. Ronald Reagan set forth Reaganomics and his economic policies in place to stop the stagflation that was occurring in his time due to the economic policies of a previous president named Gerald Ford in 1976. Stagflation is when there is high inflation and high unemployment. So, what are the economic policies of Reaganomics that Ronald Reagan put in place? Ronald Reagan cut taxes for all individuals with the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981. The highest income tax bracket was cut from 70% to 50%, and the lowest income tax bracket decreased from 14% to 11%. Then, in 1986, he passed another bill called the Tax Reform Act of 1986. With this bill, the highest income tax bracket decreased to 28% and the lowest income tax bracket increased to 15%. The corporate tax for businesses also decreased from 50% to 35%. Ronald Reagan also emphasized the government budget on the military. According to this graph, with a source from the World Bank, the percent of military expenditure of the GDP rose from about 4.9% to about 6.5% in 1982. GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product, which is the value of the total amount of goods and services in a country in a year. Also, as a part of Reaganomics, President Ronald Reagan decreased government spending on social welfare programs. There are two types of social welfare programs: monetary transfers and in-kind benefits. Most of these programs are means tested, which indicates that it is available only to individuals or families whose incomes fall below a certain level. Monetary transfers are benefits given in the form of money, and in-kind benefits are benefits given in the form of goods and services such as food or healthcare. One example of a means-tested federal assistance program that does money transfers is Aid to Families with Dependent Children, or AFDC, which was actually replaced by the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, in 1997. Some examples of means-tested in-kind benefits are food stamps, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, and Medicaid. SNAP helps low-income people pay for food, and Medicaid helps low-income people pay for health care. Reagan wanted to decrease government spending on AFDC and food stamps because he wanted to solve the free rider problem that was occurring. The free rider problem is when individuals have no incentive to pay for their own consumption and instead will take a free ride on anyone who does pay. There were low-income individuals who were taking advantage of the money transfers from AFDC and the discounted food from the food stamps by combining the money and the discounted food with the income that they got from their job, which allows these free riders to have a large income from these combined sources. This was a problem because all of these federal assistance programs are paid for by taxpayer money. However, Ronald Reagan made sure that the poor people who do not take advantage of the system, like the free riders, and who actually do need the federal assistance, are not affected by the budget cuts. In February of 1981, Ronald Reagan said, "Those who through no fault of their own must rely on the rest of us, the poverty-stricken, the disabled, the elderly, all those with true need, can rest assured that the social safety nets of programs they depend on are exempt from any cuts." So what happened when Ronald Reagan cut taxes, decreased social spending, and carried out his other economic policies? According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD, the Gini coefficient of the United States, which is represented by the solid gray line in the chart, increased from 0.31 in 1980 to 0.35 in 1988. The Gini coefficient is a number that summarizes a country's level of income inequality based on how unequally income is distributed across the quintiles. Basically, the higher the number, the higher the income inequality, which means that there were more rich people getting richer and more poor people getting poorer. As you can see in this graph from Krugman's Economics for AP, the top income group, or the rich, had a larger income growth rate from 1980 to 2008. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate fell from about 11% in 1980 to about 5% in 1988. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the inflation rate fell from about 13.5% in 1980 to 1.9% in 1986. According to the Congressional Budget Office, or the CBO, government tax revenues from income tax rose from 517.1 billion in 1980 to 909.2 billion in 1988. According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the gross domestic product grew by 36% from 1982 to 1990. The poverty rate, which is the percentage of the population with incomes below the poverty threshold, rose and then fell during Reagan's presidency, according to this graph by the U.S. Census Bureau. Thank you guys for watching this week's episode of ABCD Econ, and as Ronald Reagan said, always remember to live simply, love generously, care deeply, speak kindly, leave the rest to God. Thank you.